What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's Lex, and today we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. The film follows the Turtle brothers as they work to earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants. Alright, this time around we definitely have another origin story. We're going to be retelling the Turtle story once again in this new format, with this new animation as well, kind of inspired by the Spider-Verse, but also having a little bit of a twist of its own, having a little bit of inspiration, but also having their own identity to it. A lot of the animation in this movie has a lot of almost claymation-like feeling to it, which is pretty awesome. I like it. It's very unique in its way. I wonder if it's drawn, if they have CGI, or it's just based on the lighting or design that they use. I really would find interesting to look up why or how they even were to achieve this. You can definitely see a lot of Spider-Verse, a lot of the Spider-Man type of animation here, a lot of inspiration, but I don't mind that. I see a lot of animation movies today gaining a lot of bits and pieces from that, but that's really good. You should really take away and see what you like and create something, not a copy paste, but have your own identity. And this movie definitely was able to provide us with that. Now, with it being a new version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're getting a retelling of the story. So a lot of the origin story is different now. A lot of the kind of now pop culture-ish things that are happening at the moment are being implemented into the story. So it isn't just the past. It is almost feeling like we're kind of reliving their lives at the same time today, which is pretty awesome. They mention anime, they mention the food types like Doritos. There's a lot of Dorito ads here. They have the Pizza Hut ads as well. So they really are ingrained in the culture, what it is today. Even mentioning like Riz. Like Riz is one of those key words that we use on Twitch, or a lot of streamers are using today. So they really were able to implement a lot of what's happening in current pop culture, which is awesome, which makes you feel like you're kind of engaged in the story. It makes you feel like this is a new telling of something that you've seen before, but just a new version of it. They also have April O'Neil, but as a different version. We used to see her as this tall white lady, but now it's more modernized kid. They're all pretty young here, so a lot of the voice actors, which caught me off by surprise as well, that a lot of the voice actors were young kids. I didn't know what to feel about it at first, but I kind of found it a little bit charming and endearing. I loved it. It felt like, we're starting to see these kids. We're going to see them grow up, hopefully through these franchises and hopefully through another movie or through another streaming platform show. Let's see what they do down the road. But it's really endearing and charming to see them and hear them hey, these are young kids, and you can see the chemistry between them all. It almost felt like a Stranger Things type of chemistry, because they felt good and they were able to really articulate themselves, really show emotions through these characters. And the animation was pretty awesome as well, and was really, a key pivotal moment for them to animate the feelings, making sure that you kind of immersed into the show. And they had a lot of facial features, a lot of the lighting. You could really tell, what they were feeling at the moment. It wasn't just just a drawing. It was very immersive in that way. With it being a new interpretation of the Turtles, a lot of the characters are kind of changing a little bit, not too far from what the originals were, but they were a little bit different this time around to be a little bit more of current age things, which I found interesting. I thought it's a good idea. One of those characters being Master Splinter, played by Jackie Chan himself. We're used to Master Splinter being this wise and thoughtful character, but in this time around, he's very cautious and protective parent. We haven't seen a little bit of the wiseness yet. He's more of trying to protect the kids from being hurt from the humans. And that's kind of the whole plot story around here, is them kind of being, shielded, or them wanting to go outside of their own caves, almost breaking out of their shells. They really want to be able to do that for themselves. And you can see that Master Splinter has a lot of almost thoughts about that happening, but the whole arc is kind of finding themselves out and understanding that they're not accepted at the moment, but they're gonna be hopefully accepted by the end of the movie, which is a fantastic thing. I mean, this is a new concept, this is a new thing. Because they are young, you can kind of also relate to that in a way. If you're somebody who was an outcast, if you're somebody who was, didn't really fit in with people, this is something that you can definitely take your kids to and watch. That way they can show themselves hey, we really are, just because we look a certain way, we are a certain way, it doesn't mean that we're not good people. And that's kind of the overarching feeling to the story and warmth to it as well. One of the standout performances of the movie was definitely Ice Cube, who plays Superfly, which is kind of the main villain of the story. We haven't seen the Foot Clan just yet, but man, what a surprise he was. He was definitely very, you could tell he was such a villain. He fell into that character, and he really was able to provide almost scary but almost hip hopish way of like being like this intimidating creature, which he was able to accomplish with his voice acting. You could really hear the tone in his voice, the aggression, the level of preciseness of him, even using modern words. And there's even an instance where he uses his own lyrics, and he kind of like they break into one of the carts, and he uses one of the lyrics of that he has himself, which is really fun and interesting. They had a lot of those key moments of like having references to a lot of things. Another reference is Attack on Titan. That was one of the big things. Actually, they use Attack on Titans, the way they kill the Titans, also used it in the way where they can fight one of the big villains of the story. So it really feels like you're kind of also relating to them in a way, because if you are an anime watcher, or if you're somebody who indulges in that, you get to see a lot of the themes going out through the story, which is awesome. I really enjoy this myself, being an anime watcher. Although I do have some gripes with the movie, I feel like a lot of the story takes a long time to develop. This is only like a 90+ minute movie, so it's kind of really short, with now a lot of movies being like over 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, that we last saw with Oppenheimer. Like, I think the story took some time to develop, especially because they took about like the first 20 minutes to retell the origin story. That was kind of a little bit I would probably go without the origin story a little bit, because we kind of already know what the turtles are, and if not, you don't know, then you can catch up through the movie and learning a little bit more about them, instead of they took a lot of time, so some of the action was way pushed past the middle of the movie, so the story didn't end up developing by the end of it, but you get to see a lot of the action by the end of it. So I would have a little bit of gripe with the movie. That's why I wouldn't necessarily put it so high up there at the moment, because it does take a while for it to get going, and that's the unfortunate part. But hopefully in the second movie, or whatever they do with this franchise, we've gotten to the point where we tell the origin story, and now we can focus a little bit more on creating a bigger narrative and creating more action, creating more ways of people being engaged. I just felt like it just took a long time. It took a little while, and it took up most of the movie of itself. And yeah, man, I just wish they were a little bit more quicker with it, or maybe added just a little tidbit. We could just move on and focus on the whole entire narrative. Another thing of this movie that I really didn't like was kind of another company. The main company is trying to get the turtles and trying to grab them, but they didn't really seem so much as a threat than Superfly was and his mutant partners. They were kind of just almost felt like stormtroopers and a distraction to the bigger plot. So it was kind of like, like these guys are kind of like weak points here, and are kind of just getting in the way of the actual narrative. I understand that they're probably gonna make something bigger with it, but they didn't really do anything and almost stand out in the background. And I think that kind of was like a little bit, maybe they could have made them a little more scary or a little more terrifying, but they were kind of just stormtroopers. They were guys that they took out pretty easily. Master Splinter goes in there and just wipes everybody out. So like it wasn't really that much of a threat than it should have been. I don't know exactly what they wanted to do with that. I'm sure this is just a lot of setup. A lot of this movie feels like setup, but we'll see later down the road exactly what they're doing. But this movie was phenomenal. I think I liked it. I really enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't one of the best things I've seen, and it wasn't one of the worst things I've seen. I see that they have a lot of potential here. I see a lot of the animation style as well having a lot of potential, almost feeling like claymation, almost feeling like you're putting yourself in this world, also involving a lot of like pop culture references. I really liked it. It really put you in. It almost felt very immersed, and it was awesome to watch. And I'm excited to see what this franchise goes. I'm gonna have to give this movie maybe an 8 out of 10. Wasn't the best thing, but it wasn't the worst thing. So it's something you gotta go take out your kids for and check it out for yourself. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the movie. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video though, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you smash that sub button, because we need to get those subs going up, and with your help we can do so. And with that being said, hope you guys have a great day. Peace.